um, I ended up like when I actually went to the counselor at Sac City College and I showed her my transcript, she just looked at me and said, "What are you doing? Like you're like Van Wilder." I was the Van Wilder. She was like, you have enough units at the junior college level to have 2 bachelor's degrees. Like, what is stopping you? Like, let's get down to this. What is stopping you?" And I was like, honestly, I just hate math and I don't want to take the test. I don't want to take the class. She's like, if that's the only thing holding you back, like I'm gonna find you the class right now. And she did it right there. She was like, take this class, take this teacher, it'll be a good fit for you. She did it, and I was out of Sac City within like a semester. And
Who was your counselor at Sex City? You remember her name?
I was her name was Nichelle.
Okay, no, because my madrina, she's a counselor there, Sandra Rueda.
Yeah, it was Nichelle, and I forget her last name.
Okay.
But she was awesome, and she was like, "No, you need to get out of here." And it wasn't even coddling; like she did not coddle me at all. She was like,
So get out, go to Sac State now.
Get out. Like,
No, but you
have what
speak,
it
but
takes
you
to get
speak
out.
like you speak like and I know because I'm a Spanish teacher and I'm like I'm trying to help kids. There's some kids just pick it up right away. I mean, your story, like it's not like okay, how do I say this? Some students that I get that are already bilingual, like they pick up the Spanish so well, like they become trilingual, right? Because they're like they already have Urdu or they already know like Punjabi or some other language from home, and then they have
Yeah.
English. So for them, like they acquire it so quickly, and not just that, but they pronounce it like amazing, right? I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So like for you, like yeah, you had it there, and there's people around you that had it. I mean, obviously growing up in Modesto probably helped. You probably went to
Yeah.
Crow's Landing a couple times, but and just try to pick up, or you went to the West Side. But you speak. You to do a Spanish major, you have to speak it really well. Like it's hard.
Yeah.
Like
No, it's not.
they
And that's
were
what
like
people say. Like people say, like they're like, "Oh, but you speak Spanish so well," and I'm like, "Well, I was a Spanish major in college," and they're like, "What? You can major in Spanish?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like you can major in Spanish." I like even having conversations with my husband because he minored in Spanish at UC Davis, but like he minored in Spanish as Spanish being his first language, and even he was like, he got like B's. He's like, "No, it's hard." I was like, "Yeah, it's hard. Like it
you have to read.
it's it is a subject that you learn that is challenging. It's challenging just like any other subject.
Yeah.
And like the things that I loved about learning Spanish weren't the things that people think. Like it's not the conjugating verbs that you like get into. It's like I loved linguistics, which is like a weird subset of Spanish that most people don't enjoy. I loved it. I love linguistics. I loved phonetics. I loved like how language is built because I love learning language. So that's why I think I always wanted to teach Spanish because I loved learning Spanish.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with learning Spanish later on in life rather than early in life. It wasn't like I was born speaking both.
No.
Because I wasn't. I mean, my mom would like give us like commands in Spanish. Like I could tell you how to shut up, make the bed, like get out of the house, put on my shoes, wash your hands, all that stuff. I could do that in Spanish. And so by the time I was older, I knew how to conjugate verbs because I was like, oh, that was a command. I know how to do command forms because that's how my mom used to yell at me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So it's something where I mean, now that I'm married to somebody who is primarily a Spanish speaker, people always ask, like, so you speak Spanish at home, right? Like, no. We speak English at home. We've had our entire relationship in English. We speak Spanish when I'm at...
We fell in love in English.
We fell in love in English. He and I, we speak Spanish when we're at his parents' house.
Okay.
So at my in-laws' house, it's pretty much Spanish only ever since I've had kids, and my sister-in-law now has 2 boys. Ever since they've come into the picture, we speak more English just because the kids don't really speak Spanish. And now my mother-in-law works in a school district. My father-in-law speaks more English. It's something like we're probably like 30-70 now instead of 95.5%. But yeah, I mean, I speak Spanish at home when I'm with them. And before and during when I was at Sac State, I worked for a bank. And so at the bank, I was the bilingual person. And so
Hablo español.
Hablo español. Yeah. No, like when they'd say, oh, so do you want it to say habla español? And I was like, no, I wanted to say Hablo.
Yeah.
Hablo español.
I never got that sign. Se habla español. Like, who? Like,
Like,
yeah.
but it's like omniscient. It's like Spanish is spoken here, but like who does the speaking? Because I want to find them. Like, so yeah, I did. I can talk to you about all sorts of investments, bank accounts.
And that's needed, right? I mean,
It's needed.
I
Yeah.
have I mean, no name. I know someone that used to complain because of how they look. Like everybody comes to me and assumes I speak Spanish, and I'm like, but you do. I know, but they assume like, but you do. Like, just do it. And like,
No.
it bothered them, and that's when I was like, why does that bother you? Like, why are we so sometimes here so kind of embarrassed to like not speak English? Like, just because people make you feel that way? Because when you go to other countries, they're working their butts off to learn English. They're working their butts
Yeah.
off to learn French. Like, when we come here and people are like, well, I don't know that. Or like, they look, let's just say they look Mexican or Latino. They have a Latino name, last name too. And they go like, why do they assume I speak Spanish? I'm like, I don't know, bro. Cause you live in California. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Maybe in
Yeah.
North Dakota, they don't do that. Maybe in Vancouver, Canada, they're not going to do that. But
No.
in Sacramento, California, they're going to think you speak Spanish, bro.
Yeah.
You
You know
last
what I
name
mean?
Gomez.
It's the saying, you have a nopalito en la frente, right? Like,
Yeah.
like they assumed you spoke Spanish because you got the look. For me, nobody ever assumed that I spoke Spanish until I got married, and even then, when I got married, there was always a discussion with me and my husband. It was like, "Do you want to change your last name?" And I was like, "Honestly, I'm a feminist. I don't want to change my last name." But but
You sound like my wife
ICE
right now, but okay.
ICE doesn't like it when your wife doesn't change her last name and you want to adjust your status. So I am a Montes now because immigration likes it when you guys
Oh,
are
okay.
on the same page.
Okay.
So I am a Montes. My maiden name moved to my middle name. I'm still a Thierry.
When I
But
saw your email, I'm like, did she misspell Torres or what? No, I'm just kidding. I saw
no,
Siri, I
and
said,
that's the thing is like Thierry.
yeah, I was like, what?
Usually like you're they're like, oh, but that's the white side, right? And it's like, no, that's the Mexican side, and that's why they don't speak Spanish, because it's Tirre, and that is not a common Spanish last name at all. It's more common in Germany than any other country in the world. On my grandma's side, they're Gutierrez. So I was like, I know. And I was like, why don't we just go by Gutierrez? Because like I could have just that people would have given me Spanish street cred a long time ago if I was just Gutierrez instead of Tirre.
Yeah.
But no, by the time I was even Montes now, people will, because we'll get calls that are like,